So for today's, I had nothing recorded at all because a lot of things went on over the weekend. So I was planning on getting stuff recorded, but it didn't happen. Anyways, one of the things that some of the things I've been working on with school is I've realized there are a lot of products I've had the opportunity to try out and see if I really wanted to pick those items up or if I just wanted to kind of forgo getting them. And it's been a really cool way to test things out. So, I've had the firewall that I've shown off, the little firewall single board computer thing, where I've run Doom on it, and then I've also I haven't recorded it as of yet, but I have messed around with playing Doom on a Raspberry Pi 4B Plus, I believe it was, and then also a couple other things mixed in there as well, like a mini HDMI to HDMI cable. Because of this project, I've needed some of these different things to be able to configure different hardware or to put things together and get it all to work handy dandy. And this has been a really good test bed for me to plan future projects or future things I want to do at home. So from the HDMI cable, it's is this just a novelty, or is it something that I would sit down and use here and there, really, that would be in essence useful? Or in the case of a Raspberry Pi, it's am I really wanting to pick one of these up, or is it just a novelty that I'm gonna use and then put off to the side after a little bit? And then with the firewall, it's okay, would something like this really benefit me or what? So it's kind of like those individual projects, you're able to figure out okay, I can use it like this, or do I really need this, or things like that, and you don't even have to pay for it. So if you can find somewhere where you're putting together a project that uses different components that you've been planning on using anyway or picking up anyway, then it works out because you didn't have to pay for it, but you were able to implement it for someone else that it's going to be useful for. And so you can, in some ways, test it in your use case and then later on decide, hey, maybe I don't need this, or maybe I need something slightly different for my use case. So the other thing with this project is the fact that basically I'm designing a network, and I've been looking at doing that for at home anyway. So what that means is I can now take what I am planning here, and it's for a certain use case, and I can adapt it for my use case at home. So, in essence, you can take a project where you're doing it for something or someone else, and you can, yes, use someone else as a guinea pig for your project and then refine it for your own use case later on down the road. So like the network, I've had to have them get different Ethernet cables so that I can put it together and figure out like, okay, here are the lengths that I need for this certain use case, but maybe it'll be different otherwise. The tools that I need in order to put it together and make everything work will also be something of consideration. And you're able to much more flesh out that list for the future for your own use case, and even plan on more expensive equipment than you might otherwise use for a project depending on someone's budget elsewhere. You can also test around with different software. So like for example, on the firewall, I have OpenSense running on it, and that comes down to, I've seen OpenSense being talked about really well. It's free. pfSense is another option, but I've already gone through multiple simulations with pfSense, and OpenSense was something different and unfamiliar, so that was the other option, so that I had a larger breadth of exposure to a couple different options that weren't just pfSense and OpenSense. Or it wasn't just pfSense, because you can sometimes get into a single product rut with that kind of a thing. There was also the factor of Raspberry Pi's generally running Pi OS, and so yeah, I'm pretty much only running that. But I've got a couple different implementations of it that let me work with it. And on top of that, the switches, the network switches that have been picked up for this project, one of them's a managed switch, and I've been able to mess around with it, and it's like, I really like this. I can separate things out at home and manage things really well. So that would be a switch I would consider picking up, and it is easily available at Walmart. Not only does this kind of a project working on it for someone else give you the opportunity to test out products for your own projects, but it also gives you experience to figure out, okay, how can I refine this and possibly streamline it for projects in the future? If I'm doing this for work or as a business, I can put this together for someone lickety-split and be done and out of their hair and not need to charge them an arm and a leg, and provide a really good service at the same time. Because once you do this and you've got it figured out, you can switch in one or two different components here depending on use case, and you slowly gain a wider breadth of product awareness and experience with different products, and are able to better match up products with more customers as you go, because you're testing this hardware as you go, or you end up buying the hardware for your own test use cases so that you already have that experience before you talk to a customer, because you're working on other side projects that use some of it, and now your customers are able to benefit. You're able to get in and out of their hair quicker, charge them less, good service, and that kind of a thing. So my use case may be different than some others, and that's okay. I'm able to take these products and see, one, do I want them for my own personal use case or my own business use case? And two, do I need that for someone else's use case in case I'm giving them the service? So ultimately the idea came from like, am I going to want to use this myself? But it applies to other things as well. So again, a good way to test whether you like a product or not is to find someone that already has it and test it out, or to find a way to arrange for you to be able to test it without needing to pay for it. Like whether it be a school project where they are going to finance the whole thing for you, or it be going to use a friend's item of go to a friend that's already bought it and use it there, or borrow it and then test it out with your use cases so that you can see, does it fit, does it not? Am I going to occasionally come back and play on the thing with it? Or am I going to just leave it off to the side and then not think about it later on? If you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description, Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one.